Hello everyone. So, 2 years and 1 month, or 25 months if you prefer. In case you're wondering why the blonde wig, well, I just wanted to share what my Halloween costume looked like. And, well, quite frankly, I think I look better as a brunette, but it got the job done. So the first thing to mention is this little bit right here. I don't want you to think I'm a vampire that just had their latest victim, or that I just got out of a bad fight. This is unfortunately a pretty bad cold sore. This is something I've gotten from time to time, and then they don't last very long, thankfully. But the biggest thing I'm happy about is that it's on my lip this time. There were a few times where I got them like right over my eye. In fact, I had a really bad case like maybe 5, 6 years ago, I want to say. It felt like I was crying all the time, but whenever I went to dry it up, it was bright yellow. And of course, this would also have to happen at a time where I had to visit a lot of clients. So I put on a nice pair of sunglasses so that nobody had to see it, because it looked pretty bad. The eyeball was like all red, and it just looked like I was slowly dying of some sort of flesh-eating virus. So like I said, I'm just happy it's on my lip this time. So, now before we continue, I'm taking this wig off. It's kind of crazy to think my hair is that long naturally. And, well, I like the natural color. If I were to dye, I would either love to have like a hot pink or black hair, in all honesty. What can I say? I like dark hair. I find it very nice looking. And plus I have pretty pale skin, so I feel like really light hair just makes me look even more sickly. But yet the odd thing about the vampire thing is, I'm not sure it's genetic, but I find I have very pronounced canine teeth. Let me see if I can show you. See how they're very pointed? Almost kind of like fangs. I'm not really sure if that's a genetic thing, but I do remember there was like the thumbnail of some sort of like, hey, watch this video that said maybe it was because I was born male, that's why I have such fang-like teeth, but I really can't tell you either way. I feel like I could probably pull off the vampire look really well if I like whittled them down or something, but these are kind of sharp already. In fact, I've kind of cut my tongue as well as my cheeks several times on these teeth, and I don't want them any sharper than that. There were a few major events that happened this month that I will now go over. So, starting right on October 1st itself, my 2-year anniversary, that is when a good friend of mine was getting married. That's going to be a really easy anniversary to remember for sure. It also marked the first time that I went to a wedding not wearing a suit. I wore a dress. In fact, it was the bride that gave me this dress, so we had a fair bit of fun with it as well. For being my first debut as a woman in formal clothes, nobody noticed. Which I was pretty happy about, because at times I feel like I'm just not really getting the voice thing right. Even now, I feel like I'm going to be editing this video going, why do I still sound so manly? But one step at a time, I guess. It was a very interesting wedding, to say the least, so without getting too crazy into all the drama involved, basically I went with a good friend of mine that I've known since junior high school. And when we made out the invitations, his partner was also going to be there. But about a month before the wedding itself, they had a really bad breakup. And so both of us talked to the groom and said, yeah, we cannot sit at the same table, otherwise we're going to have quite a mess on our hands. For the first little bit, it seemed like everything was going all right until he saw them, and they just kind of went into a downhill torrent from there. And the thing that got even worse is that I was kind of good friends with the partner. They were the first person I ever received a hug from that I actually liked. The first person that ever called me pretty by my first name. But because this friend was my friend first, I obviously had to take his side. And so I just did everything in my power to keep my distance. Which was quite a pity because another friend is also friends with us, but also friends with them. So they kind of felt divided as to where to go as well. In escaping, I basically ran into the husband's family, and not only were they a lot of fun, but it's the question of my gender never came up. Was it the makeup? Was it the lipstick? Was it the dress? Like, everybody treated me as a woman, and I was really happy about that. Even though most of my lipstick came off when we had a bit of a snack before we had the big meal. But at the same time, I guess I must have looked pretty convincing because no such question ever came up. I was never called sir, and I wish I could get more of that in my life. So we had to go home early, which in ways kind of turned out to be a good thing because the dance floor was opening up and the shoes I had, while they were mostly flats, they were not very comfortable to walk in, and my feet were hurting something fierce by that time. So going home, it actually kind of worked out alright. The next day as well also had a pretty big thing. Basically, my mother, as well as a friend of hers that I've also grown up with, she brought her son over. And it was just interesting because she was explaining to the son that I was a brother of my sister. And so my mother leaned over and said, not really. It was a very subtle thing, but that meant the world to me. Basically saying that she's finally coming around to this. Which, there have been signs here and there before, like I've kind of talked about how this area hurts a little bit with the way everything's going on, or how I'm supposed to treat long hair now. And in fact, she helped me even try to find some hairpins, as well as hair ties, and just a lot of other things to help keep everything in check. In fact, she also gave me a few nail files, and well, she even offered to give me some razors. However, she remembered that I shave my legs with an electric razor, which I just really enjoyed the gesture. It really means that she's coming around. She's accepting this. It's not that awkward thing we're not allowed to talk about anymore. And that's really all I ever want right there. I've been getting into this quote-unquote new anime called Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water. Maybe I'll do a review on this later, but I can tell you, this is a good one. But essentially, there was one section of the anime where it was kind of like a boys versus the girls section. The boys were saying that the girls were being unreasonable, and the girls were saying that the boys were being unreasonable. I was siding with the girls on this argument. So I guess that means it's official. I'm a woman now. I even think like a woman now, and before that was something I found kind of scary, but now it's like, okay, I mean, I am a woman. I should be thinking this way. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if I start getting attracted to men, that's where I'm going to start getting a little nervous, because as of now, I don't mind the company of men, but to be in a romantic relationship, no, I don't even want to picture that. Just. So this is the interesting thing. So with my 2-year anniversary video, there was this one comment on there that really got me thinking a little bit. Basically saying that, like, transitioning isn't so much about looking like a woman, but acting like a woman as well. And I will admit that's something I'm not very good at. I'm very, like, in your face, very fight back. Like, maybe I'm just going back to all the female stereotypes I had when I was growing up, but I feel like in general there's a lot of mannerisms I have that are not very feminine at all, unfortunately. And this is one of those things. It's like, yes, I want to be perceived as a woman, but at the same time, I still want to be myself. That's kind of the reason for transitioning in the first place. It's like, I feel like I didn't really have too much of a problem with my personality. It was just, I couldn't stand my body anymore. That's why I started transitioning. It's still something I'm thinking about, but I figured it'd be nice food for thought to put out here as well. That's about all I can think of. This is the last thing I'll ask before concluding. So, that comment, it said it would take up to 5 years for the hormones to finally take effect. And, then I hear some people say, like, after 2 years, everything that's changed will have probably changed by now, but there's so many different body variations, who knows. But the main point I'm trying to make is, I'm not really sure if there's going to be a whole lot of changes to document between now and, say, the 5-year mark. So I'm just asking you, do you still want an update video once a month? If you do, I just want to give you a heads up. They're probably going to be kind of short. I feel like I've transitioned in a lot of ways in the past 2 years, and I'm not really sure if there's going to be any, like, landmark or land-breaking progress that I can think of that would be worth documenting. However, I'll leave it to you to decide. Well, till next time, be yourself, no matter who that is.